So we have our histograms, and now we have to do our analysis. So for your analysis paper, just keep it, you don't have to complicate it. Give it a nice name. So let's do a title. We'll say voters' ages. Uh, voters, that's the proper English way of doing it. Ages, right? Who who turns out to vote, and put down your name. And now you can begin by just analyzing each histogram. So for me, I like to use tables to organize, my graphs and stuff. And I have two histograms for this example, so I'm going to use two. And I'm going to change it back to inline with text, only because then I can drag it into here. And then here I'm going to change it to inline with text, and I can again drag it into here. So I look at my first one, and you know what? Let's change the size of this. So I look at my first histogram, and I notice that this is a bimodal, right? There are two peaks. And if you're not happy with that, what you could do also is you can go back to your code, and you can play around with your histogram. So here's my histogram, and before I had it at 4, I changed it to 8. And when I do that, I see that, hey, this definitely has two peaks, right? There are years between 30 and 40% of these voters show up, and then there are years between 50 and 60% that these voters show up, right? These two right here are, it's not really that, it doesn't really happen. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to go back to my document, and I'm going to say, ages 30 to 44 is a bimodal distribution centered around 35 to 40% and 50 to 60%. Okay, I kind of group these together. Um, you know, I think it's fine. So there we go, right? That's all we've learned so far, right? That's all the analysis I can do, but it's pretty powerful analysis, right? Like you can say that typically, depending on an election, either you have 35 to 40% of people these ages show up, or 50 to 60. Likewise, for the 60-year-old crowd, right, it is also bimodal, right, where we have um, ages 60 plus. And notice how, even though this is higher, this is still considered a peak here, right? So it's okay to call it bimodal. It would be skewed if like we had like one thing over here, right? But no, we have almost equal amount. We have really two peaks, right? So ages 60 plus is a bimodal distribution. So yeah, you see I misspelled it up there. Just make sure the comes here. Distribution. All right. Centered around 55 to 60% and 65 to 70%. And that analysis alone shows you something wild, right? Like these guys basically show up almost twice or twice as likely to show up than this age group, right? Look at these two bimodal peaks and look at these two peaks. But right now, all we're doing is just, we're reporting on the data. So that's all you have to do, nothing too complicated. And once you're happy with what you wrote, what I like to do is I like to hide my table. So I click on the table, I go to design, and where it says borders, I just go to no border. And now what I have this cute little picture with this writing next to it. Okay, I did it for two of them. You have to do it for all of them. And then once you're done, you're going to hit save, and you're going to upload it to iLearn.